Hi guys, Sean from Alpha Wrestling Reviews here. I'm joined by
Paul. Hi.
And this is our Smackdown review for the Superstar ShakeUp.
Now we have just filmed the Raw review. Please go over and watch that because it hopefully will be up by the time that this one's up.
It will be up.
So you can go and see that as well. That's our opinion on the Raw review. Now we noticed we probably rambled a little bit on the Raw, so we're going to try and cut the filler down a little bit.
Well, we've only got 2 hours of show.
And we've only got 2 hours, so we're going to have to try and be quite good with this one.
So,
just getting my notes up. Hold on. Right. So again, it was in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Like I said,
pronounced Quebec.
Quebec. Like I said on the Raw review, go and watch it. Plug. The crowd was superb. Both shows. The crowd absolutely brilliant. One of the best crowds we've had in a while. This was better than the Raw After Mania crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I mentioned that in the Raw one as well. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. So the show starts with the Kevin Owens show. He gets a huge pop off of the crowd. Hometown crowd. It was absolutely brilliant. I think he actually got a bigger cheer than what Sami Zayn did last night.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. I was quite interested, and I've put in my little comment section here. I said I love the tie. He's just got a shirt on and a jacket, and then just this blue tie. And I did laugh when I saw that. So he said, "Welcome to the KO show" in French. He cuts a little French promo for the fans. I had no bleeding clue what they're saying, but they obviously loved it. Loud, oui, oui, oui chants, basically yes chants in French before you ask any questions. He then says about Mr. McMahon revealing the biggest acquisition in Smackdown history later on in the evening. Just does a little plug for that. He then turns around and says, "Well, that's not right because KO is the biggest acquisition in Smackdown history." I agree with him.
He's my favourite superstar at the moment. Until Bray Wyatt comes back.
People aren't liking this face run. I do. I think this face run's quite good.
I've come up with a little theory, but I'll get to that at the end.
Okay. So yeah, we're going to get another massive KO chant, basically supporting his opinion on saying he's the best acquisition. And then we have Kofi Kingston announced as his guest, and he comes out with Just Woods, no biggie. Like I said on a couple videos ago,
he's done his tendons, hasn't he?
He's done his meniscus in his knee. Now, I watched a podcast yesterday. It was a few YouTubers with Matt Morgan, the former WWE star and TNA star Matt Morgan. Now, when Matt Morgan was young and he was in Tough Enough, he torn his meniscus. Now, it's just a lot of the time it can be just down to keyhole surgery, which injury time isn't actually that long.
6 to 8 weeks, I think.
They've given his time frame maximum being out for about 3 months, they reckon. Do you think he'll come back? I know we keep plugging this.
He'll come back as a heel.
Do you think he'll come back and cost Kofi? That's what I think. Because he's going to get jealous of people like Owens and that. That's what I think. Spoilers.
If they continue the whole Big O thing, definitely get
there was an independent wrestler. I don't know who he is. There was an independent wrestler, obviously called the Big O, and he took a shot at him for using his name. But I'm sure someone out there
copyright it, and you can sue him.
I'm sure someone out there will know who he is, but I don't know who he is at all. But yeah, he then turns around. They all get a nice little cheer from the crowd and the three of them in the ring. Owens gets Olay chants. He then gets a standing ovation. He then gets the crowd to give Kofi a standing ovation. Sorry, you deserve it chants. You deserve it. And then Kofi Kingston stands up and just goes, "Je suis la champion," and that gives a huge a huge pop from the crowd. And I'll just put in my comment section here, I love this crowd. I think this crowd is so good.
So good.
They address Big E's injury. Woods says he wants to see Tyler Breeze on SmackDown.
I'd love that. Because
he plugs it. He wants to see Tyler Breeze.
Tyler Breeze won the Worlds Collide tournament.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I think that'd be quite good. There's rumours that Fandango should be back quite soon. He's back in training. Fandango.
Oh mate, I can't wait for the Fashion Files. They're like my favourite.
Did you know that was in the top 40 UK charts in 2013 when he had his Mania debut? In the United Kingdom, that entered in the charts because it was so big.
We are the reason. The UK, London, that crowd is the reason for. And no one else did it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We started it. I was there. It was great.
I was not, sadly. So they announced that Kofi and Woods will face Rusamura. I've named them about 4 different things on my notes here. Rusamura, Nakasev, God knows what else.
Nakasev.
You know what I mean. Yeah, Rusamura will be facing Kofi and Woods tonight, and it's then turned into Kevin Owens being asked to be the 3rd member.
He asks to be
he asked them. An honorary member. And he then says, I want to be Big K. And then he turns around and goes, no, wait. I want to be Big O.
Big O's funnier.
Big O's funnier. And they say, okay, but you need initiation first. But it's announced that KO will be the 3rd member of New Day for tonight, or for possibly the foreseeable future. But again, we'll have to see next week. And then it's announced later on when Nakamura and Rusev, who are watching this backstage at that really weird angle where they're watching the TV like that, even though the TV screen's not there.
Who does that? Who's like?
They've been doing that for years, though, unfortunately.
Adjacent to a TV.
And then Cesaro comes along, and on his own, no Sheamus. We thought that Sheamus might have been one of the victims of the travel issues to Canada, but no, it turns out that Sheamus is actually injured. There's no news on what the injury is yet. And also no Daniel Bryan tonight. There's news on his injury as well. He got injured at WrestleMania.
What is it? Head? Please don't be a head injury. I don't like heel Daniel Bryan, but I really like Daniel Bryan. So.
Possibly, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Apparently, it's nothing major, nothing to cause mass concern. So yeah, the main event is announced to be Kevin Owens, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods versus Nakasev and just Cesaro of the Bar. And then I put, oh my god, Owens gyrates. What the hell am I watching?
He put
in a good way.
Kofi's tank top on, didn't he? Not tank top, like crop top. It looked like a bib.
This segment for me,
it was one of the funniest segments I've seen.
I was crying with laughter. I was like gyrating. It was hilarious. So yeah, like I said, I love this segment. Oh, he also puts on Kofi's unicorn headband as well. Which I thought was quite funny.
No, not Kofi's. He gets.
I just put WTF is this and why do I love it? Pretty much sums it up.
Where has Big O been my entire life?
So yeah, next up we have Finn Balor's music here. Like I said on the Raw review, go watch it.
The first call up.
Balor comes out in the Smackdown gear again, so I think the foreshadowing was correct. And he brings the IC title along with him. So the mid-card titles will switch. Which, like I said again in the Raw review,
this is what had everyone confused because no one knew Samoa Joe was supposed to be on Raw.
Yeah, because he has pneumonia.
Which, that storyline could be pretty decent though, because if no one, well, obviously we've guessed it and they've released it unofficially, but if they use that as a storyline, like Braun calls someone out comes Samoa Joe when he's better.
Could be interesting as a payback for you beat me down. He ran with his tail between his legs when we saw him last week. But yeah, Balor versus Ali, and for me, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but for me, this was and I think you're in agreement with me, this was my match of the week. Balor was in both contenders for match of the week, I think, and this was my match of the week. This was a really, really good match. Balor versus Ali. Again, we won't go into detail too much, but I'll just say a few spots. There was a great suicide dive from Ali and a good super kick spot when Balor was going for a shotgun drop kick. Ali caught him with a super kick. Balor sold it greatly. Awesome top rope Hurricane Rana again from Ali. I never used to like this guy, but he's starting to win me over. Great top.
There was a rumour about him going back to 205 because they had nothing for him, but I can see him and this little face versus face.
IC title, I think, or yeah, maybe. Yeah. But a great Hurricane Rana spot on the top for a near fall. He misses the 450. You notice he's not going for the 054 as much anymore. He's just going for the regular 450. Yeah. He won the match last week with a regular 450, not an 054. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so he misses a 450, but he doesn't really do a 450. He just sort of does a front flip and lands on his feet. Sort of staggers forward, and as he turns around, he gets hit with a shotgun drop kick by Finn Balor. Sells it like he's been shot out of a cannon, which was great. And then Balor hits a coup de grace, and he lands right on him again, and it looked painful. And yeah,
you've got to breathe in, don't you?
Yeah.
Because
you breathe because you can't do the old put the arms up to catch him spot like you do with maybe a swanton or a moonsault to lessen the blow because he's coming down with his bleeding feet. But Balor won with a coup de grace. It was a good match. Balor and Ali shook hands at the end. I couldn't think of my words there.
Good sportsmanship.
Good sportsmanship. I like to see that because I don't see that enough with face versus
They do
face.
that in the. They used to do it in the cruiserweights. Used to shake their hands before.
Yeah, but that
They
died.
did it in the Cruiserweight Classic.
That died 1,000 deaths 205 Live. We said on the Raw review again, go watch it. Buddy Murphy has come over to SmackDown as well as Cedric Alexander going to Raw. Both of them were just vignettes. Although Cedric Alexander's was like a vignette of videos, whereas Buddy Murphy's was like a handheld camera vignette of himself talking. I stand by 205 Live. I think by the end of the year he's going to be dead and they're going to integrate him into the Raw and SmackDown brands.
But there's already too many people.
But the viewership's just
I reckon they'll
on
keep
205 Live's pants.
I reckon they'll keep the 205 Live people on SmackDown.
But it's as boring as Superstars. I can't remember the last time I watched Superstars or main event. Sorry,
last time I watched main event, I was watching it being filmed when I went to Raw last year.
Yeah,
it's very bad. They For those of you who don't know, they filmed main event before Raw. Spoiler alert.
It's not even an hour show now, is it? It's like half hour. It's two matches.
2 matches, like 10 minutes long, if that.
Remember when main event used to be a big thing, and Superstars used to be a big thing.
Saturday night main event.
Do you remember what the just the normal main event? I think you had Kofi Kingston win the IC title off of Miz in one of the first main events. And do you remember what the very first match for WWE Superstars was, all the way back in 2009?
Rey Mysterio, R-Truth. Who was it?
Undertaker versus Matt Hardy.
Was it?
And Matt Hardy ran away. Undertaker won the match by countout.
Wow.
2009. Look at it now. So I don't even think it exists now. It exists now, does it? Superstars?
No.
Oh. Moving on. So, there's a New Day backstage segment with Owens. I found this funny, but I found this a bit of a pointless segment.
Dragged a bit.
It didn't need to be here. Basically, they said that Owens needs an initiation. He has to beat Big E's time of eating a tray full of pancakes in 5 minutes and 37 seconds. And then I just put in the comments, oh my god, he's actually eating them. And he just turns around and goes, oh, they're so dry. And he says he's never eaten a pancake in his life.
He's just put on all the weight he lost.
I know. So, and then they done a...
Also, I like the fact that this week we actually got a look at his decent terriers. I love terriers, but he's got some pretty decent. He's got a panda, a gorilla.
I like his ball on his arm.
Yeah,
which is quite good. Looks a bit like the Rock's, although the Rock's has been covered over now, isn't it?
The Rock's new one is mad.
Oh, it's mad. I love
it's
it.
2 years old now,
though. Yeah. And they cut back later on. Basically, they show Owens eat a few of them. Owens moans that they're dry. And then they cut back later on, and there's like one left. Obviously, they've just got rid of him. And then, you beat his
Imagine
time.
If he's actually eating all of them.
It's like he said, he would have put all the weight on. He's lost. I couldn't do that. I'd find that horrible. So that's what I mean. It was just okay. That didn't really need to be there. I mean, I know it's for comedy reasons, but
yeah,
it didn't need to be there. There's sometimes too much of a good thing, which again we'll go into the Becky Lynch segment later.
Oh no.
Next we have R-Truth, and I just said his piss annoying entrance with Carmella. I can't stand it. I put in here. It sounds like cats are being drowned. It's awful. I can't stand it. And then I just put in there this bloody dinosaur promo again after the break. Exactly the same as the one on Raw. It was just 2 repeats. Carmella versus Charlotte coming up. I won't make that comment. Carmella versus Charlotte coming up. We then have... actually, to be fair, this match weren't bad. I thought this match was okay. It was a standard match, but it was okay, an okay match. Mella hits a crossbody off the barricade at one point. There was a big boot while Carmella was on the apron, which went flying.
Charlotte went for a somersault thing, and Carmella knocked her off the barricade.
Yes, she did. And there was also a really good dragon screw, which you've not seen in a long time. The last one that used to do the dragon screw quite often was The Rock, before he hit the sharpshooter. She done a dragon screw while Carmella's leg was in, she was trying to get back in the ring. So that played off the fact that she'd had a knee injury. Super kick on the outside, but the injured knee stopped her from throwing Charlotte in the ring and getting the cover. She then managed to get her up, throw her in the ring. As she was getting in the ring herself, Charlotte hit a chop block on Carmella's injured knee, threw into the figure 8, and Carmella had to tap out at the end. Weren't bad.
Out comes Lars Sullivan.
And I'll just put for
No,
sake after this segment, because who comes out but Lars Sullivan again. R-Truth starts fighting Lars. He hits a lie detector, but Lars stays on his feet. And then Lars just ends his days.
See, he went for the corkscrew clothesline, but literally...
Yeah, that's the lie detector.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because...
Lars just staggered a bit, but still stayed on his feet.
But Truth still managed to spin on Lars.
It was pretty cool. I do like that move. Truth then sort of goes to the other rope. He springs back at him, sort of goes for a crossbody. Lars catches him in midair, hits him with a freak accident, and then, like we said on the Raw review, again.
That's going to get annoying.
Yeah, it is, but I don't care. He then hits the gut wrench powerbomb, which seems to be his new finisher now, on R-Truth, and R-Truth sells it like The Rock sells the stunner. It was
good.
Superb. Oh no, I said the word again. It was awesome. And
Stunning.
then we get the a-hole chance from the crowd because he starts staring at Carmella and she looks like
Do you reckon
she's
he'll
about
take
to...
it that far?
No, they won't have men attacking women like that anymore.
Are you sure? Because they brought... That was... Do you remember at Royal Rumble, they were like, oh, there's a big surprise in the women's...
And it was
Royal
Nia
Rumble.
Jax, yeah.
No. Yeah, in the men's Royal Rumble. And we're like, oh, I wonder what it's got to be. It's got to be like Kenny Omega or something. Oh, no,
I thought it would be Lars.
It's just Nia Jax.
It's Nia Jax. I thought it was actually going to be Lars coming out there, but he wasn't.
I don't understand how that's a big surprise. So basically... And then Dolph Ziggler just kicked her in the face.
And then got RKO'd.
Yeah.
But that's Nia Jax. It's not...
She's out. She's on both ends, isn't she?
Out for 9 months. She was out injured in the Mania match. Again, that's in my news review, guys. Go watch.
Stop it.
So yeah, he got a whole chance. It kind of like she was about to piss herself because she was in sheer fear. She sold that really well. And then we get Lynch out again, and like I said,
Bored of this.
this is being shoved down our throats too much now. It's going to be the Roman Reigns effect again soon if they're not careful. They need to sort of thin her down a little bit. Now she's the double champion. She's on both shows, and
she's the champ.
she's the champ, and
Chopper
she's
chops.
in every single women's segment via the tag. Oh
Aren't
wait,
they
no,
lollies
she
you
was
used
in
to
the
get when
tag
you were a
segment
kid?
as well. Hey?
Aren't they the lollies you used to get when you were a kid?
Chub chubs.
Oh,
Chubbers.
chopper chops.
I don't know if that's out in the States. It's just in the UK here.
Mm.
So we get Ember Moon come out. Now I was pleased with this.
She was injured. Like literally, that's 3 weeks ago.
She was rumoured to be she was injured at the Royal Rumble, shoulder injury, and she was rumoured to be out till SummerSlam, and then all of a sudden she turned up in the Women's Battle Royal, and now it looks like she's back. So good luck to her. She's got John Cena's healing powers. So Ember Moon comes out. I was happy by this. Crowd were happy with this as well. She got a big cheer. She's on Smackdown. Good. I like that. I think that's pretty cool.
Love that.
You then get Bayley come out, and apparently Dave Meltzer has said
She went backstage and she was really pissed off with the.
Well, it's not only that. She was booed on TV. Now you can hear the boos audibly, but what Dave Meltzer said was it was a lot worse. They actually dialed it down a little bit on the mics. It was a lot worse. She was being booed every time. Any action that she made, or any time she went to speak, or any time she got a tag or hit a move, she was booed heavily, because I think everyone's heard this backstage, how her and Sasha have both acted like children. We said that on the Raw review, didn't we? Like how they're both just acting like, it's not to do with being released from WWE. All these other guys that have asked to release and it's not been granted, they've still been professionals. They've still seen out their contracts, done their job and got on with it. These two have acted like absolute children. I think now you've got dirt sheets around, backstage news hits people's ears a lot easier,
So much quicker as well.
a lot quicker, and I think people are thinking, oh, you're just a child, and I think this is why she's being booed. And to be honest, I'm sort of done with her a bit, really. So yeah, Bayley gets booed, and she does this rambling promo, and again, I'll put in my comments here, Bayley, for Christ's sake, get to the point. She says that she's a single star now, so it looks like the Boston Hug Connection are not a thing anymore. I think Banks is probably going to stay on Raw then. Iconics come out to massive cheers. I just put absolute...
Time for a cuppa.
Yeah. It's the cup of tea segment for me.
And
They
Paige
taunt
comes
Bayley about taking the titles, which the crowd actually they cheer. And then Paige's music hits. She gets another big pop as well. I thought about this. The moment because because I thought it'd be the Sky Pirates, and I thought about it, and I thought, well, no, it's not going to be the Sky Pirates.
Yeah,
Irish Rai will stay down. So Paige basically announced that Asuka and a call up from NXT, Kairi Sane, are now a team. So they are going to be the Japanese Pirates. I love how they're paired them just because they're two Japanese superstars.
I don't think they have. I don't think that's the reason. It's not. They're just similar style.
The Oriental Pirates.
That's just pirates.
Pirates. Just pirates. So, yeah, they come out as a team. I thought this was great. But before Paige was able to announce the Japanese Pirates, Fire and Desire, Deville and Rose come out to absolute crickets. Now, I thought they were going to turn these two against each other, but I think they're changing to the Smackdown main event at WrestleMania. I think they've kept these two together. But these two come out to crickets, honestly. They didn't even get booed. It was just indifference. The crowd were just completely silenced for these two.
They're a little pop for Absolution when they announced that.
Yeah, there was a pop for Evolution, to be fair.
And then Paige was like, yeah, but you're going to have to wait for that.
Yeah, we don't want that. And they had basically just a talking segment. They started a brawl between the lot of them. Paige just turns around to her two superstars she's now managing in Asuka and Sane, and basically says, go get them. They all go into the ring, they all brawl. What made me laugh was Ember Moon and Bayley are out there saying they don't want to be a tag team anymore, they want to be single stars. Next thing you know, they're all in a tag team feud. And Becky Lynch just sort of peters out of the ring without getting into any combat. No, not really. She sort of walked away during this. And I just thought, what was the point of Becky Lynch being out there? You had her say near enough the same thing on Raw. Why bring her out on SmackDown and say the same thing when she doesn't need to be there? Because they're not even in a tag team title, a SmackDown women's title feud. There's no point of her being there. So that annoyed me a bit. She didn't need to be there. But during the break, it was announced apparently that there was an 8-woman tag. You had Asuka and Sane with Bayley and Ember Moon versus the Iconics and Fire and Desire.
The other two.
Ember hit a really good crossbody from the top of the turnbuckle to the outside on the heel team. Billie Kay's new finisher, it used to be just a running big boot. It now looks like she's doing what Gail Kim used to do. And Xavier Woods, the Eat Defeat, where she puts her foot sort of on their cheek and then drops back. Okay, I'm up for that. The finish was Asuka hit a reverse DDT like the Scorpion Death Drop on Peyton Royce, and then Kairi Sane's insane elbow for the win, but it was on Peyton Royce. Like I said on the Raw review, it was the tag champs for 2 nights in a row now taking the pinfall. I don't like that. I don't like booking champions weak. You had Deville there, you had Rose there. I mean, I know they're probably trying to book Rose up a bit, but you had Deville there. Have Deville take the pinfall, not the women's tag champ. So this annoyed me, but I've got a feeling they have done that because that's going to be their reason for pushing forward to have Sane and Asuka versus the Iconics for the titles. And do you know what I see happening? I see them taking it.
They will.
And hot potato in the belt yet again. But the match wasn't really much. It was sort of there. It was an okay match. That's all I can really say about that.
Honestly, I didn't watch this match. I went to get a drink.
Yeah, I actually, during the break from here, I actually did go and make a cup of tea. It was lovely. Yes, I'm British and I love tea. Deal with it. Then it was announced that Lars Sullivan, even though the previous night and on WWE.com it was announced he was on Raw, they've now announced that he is on SmackDown. Okay. I don't want him on. I'd rather him be on Raw, to be honest. We then had a Hardy Boys promo showing the tag titles, saying they're basically the greatest tag team in space and time, and I just was like, okay. I mean, your shadows of what you used to be. I was never really a massive Hardy fan. When Jeff Hardy was getting his single push during the world title main event, I didn't like it.
What's wrong with you?
I've never been a massive Hardy fan. I'm sorry. I actually prefer Matt to Jeff in the WrestleMania 25 match, which is not the 25th anniversary. Jeff versus Matt. I was cheering for Matt. I wanted Matt to win over Jeff Hardy.
It was just
their massive, really underrated match, the Extreme Rules match. Anyway,
so is that the one where Jeff punts a chair into Matt's neck? Or was that in the
No.
other wrestling promotion?
No, that was Matt punting a chair into Jeff's neck, and that was
yeah,
on the SmackDown after.
Oh.
Or the SmackDown just before. No, that was after, because that was before their I Quit match at Backlash. But Matt won with the twist of fate while Jeff's head was inside a propped up chair.
Yes.
Which was, and to be fair, he did sell that really well. But anyway, after this is where we did get the Buddy Murphy segment announcing that he is coming from 205 Live to SmackDown. I thought just as much, because let's face it, he's not 205. I'm quite surprised though, because
they're still announcing him as 205.
Well, not only that, we was talking on the Raw review about how they try and keep couples together. Now, for those of you that don't know, Alexa Bliss and Buddy Murphy are actually an engaged couple. Buddy, you lucky devil. But Buddy's on SmackDown. Alexa looks like she's staying on Raw.
But they didn't go to. They haven't been ever. They're hardly seen together. Unless it's one of those couples.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, we have the New Day then come out for the main event match. Owens starts doing the Biggie entrance. It was great.
The first time it's ever been televised.
What?
Them doing that backstage. It's never usually televised.
Yeah, so basically he gets the microphone. You know, Biggie when they're having a match, he does
Montreal! Don't you? Oh, well, I'm not doing the rest of it.
Yeah, he lets Kevin Owens do that, and he actually nails it. I think he done that really well. And then come out, and we have Rusev or Nakas, or whatever you want to call them. Rusev and Nakamura and Cesaro, who get a jobber entrance, by the way. No Sheamus again because he's out injured. The good parts of this match, there was a good unicorn stampede spot where they keep tagging each other in and kicking the opponent in the ring.
With the cannonball bit as well, I like that.
They tag Owens in, he gets a huge pop from the crowd. He starts doing the stampede, and then Kofi whips him into the opponent. I can't remember who it was in there. It might have been, I think it was Nakamura.
I think so.
It was either Nakamura or Cesaro, it wasn't Rusev.
My only problem with this entire... It was a good match, but the ending.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, Owens hits a cannonball. So the ending, hang on, I'll just make sure there's not any other spots. Just going through my notes. There was an SOS spot. Oh, no, there's one really good spot. Now, Woods is sitting on the middle rope on the opponent's section, and then Nakamura comes sliding through underneath Woods, grabs him, and then as Nakamura goes under the ring, he grabs Woods and he sort of Germans him to the outside. I thought that was a really good spot and something that I've not seen before. Inventive. I think that's what's needed.
Love
so you had that. You then had, I've just lost my place here. Yeah, like I say, an SOS was a Cesaro swing into the sharpshooter. Owens then throws Kofi into Nakamura and Cesaro. Kofi sort of does like his trust die thing, although I think it was more of a crossbody. But Rusev sort of scampers out the way and goes round the back behind a lot of them. It goes to hit Woods with the Machka kick. Woods grabs it, spins him round. Kofi hits Trouble in Paradise, and then Owens hits a stunner.
What
and
it was supposed to be? It was
supposed to be a stunner, but Rusev sold it awfully.
What was it? It was
It looked like the very first stunner on Vince McMahon. Go and watch that one. Vince McMahon sells it terribly.
He went over his shoulder though.
Yeah, he went right over his shoulder, and it looked awful. It was really bad sell from Rusev.
It was like a reverse cut Salida assault.
Yeah, basically. It was pretty bad, but hey ho, match was won with that. I think it was Kevin Owens who got the win,
Kevin Owens got the pin.
Kevin Owens got the pin on Rusev.
Smackdown ended with them all standing tall.
And I've just put, other than the Charlotte match, this was a very face-heavy night.
Yeah.
She's quite interesting. So Charlotte's win was the only sort of heel win of the night, to be honest.
Yeah, basically.
So finally, the final segment, just before the segment airs, Vince McMahon music hits, and then we go to the break, and then we get the creepy, weird-ass Annabelle Gothic doll promo again. Again, it was an identical promo from Raw. And then we go back to Vince McMahon, and I said, as he was coming down, he's getting cheered for some reason at the start. Why are they cheering him? This man is the reason why everyone keeps getting fed up with the way WWE's going, and yet they're cheering him.
How often do you see Vince on TV?
More lately, since they've gone for the new era in December. But before that, we hadn't seen him since I think Owens headbutted him, to be honest. So yeah, Vince McMahon comes out, but the funny thing was, as he gets in the ring, the cheers turn into boos, which I thought was quite funny. I think the only reason they were cheering him was I think they like his theme song, because they were singing along with his theme song. You Screwed Brett chants, obviously they're in Canada.
Still? It was like 25 years ago.
I know, 97.
22 years ago.
Vince turns around. Sorry, I'm just trying to find my notes. Vince turns around and says the person that he's going to announce is the future of WWE.
Charismatic.
Start
saying all of these like.
He's going to spearhead the WWE.
Yeah.
He's the future of SmackDown Live. It was Elias. Walk with Elias.
Oh, I like the bit where he goes, Vince, because you know this more than anyone. The WWE stands for
Walk with Elias. I thought it was pretty good because I think if they'd just announced Roman Reigns, the crowds would have turned. I think this was the perfect way to announce Reigns. Spoilers. Roman Reigns comes out and he basically.
I love heel Roman Reigns right now.
I don't think that's going to happen yet.
We punched Vince in the face.
Yeah, but Vince is a heel.
Well, there was no story behind him punching Vince in the face.
I think Vince was just started talking to him. He was just like, I'm asserting my dominance here now. So basically, Vince McMahon gets in his... Superman punches Elias. He starts beating him down. Superman punches Elias. Vince then gets in his face and he hits Vince with a Superman punch.
Which Elias catches Vince.
As Vince falls back, Elias catches him. Roman celebrates with the crowd. He basically says, "This is my yard now."
Oh yeah,
again.
Is that SmackDown Live is my yard now?
He then goes up the entrance ramp, stops, and then when the crowd realise he's stopping, they start cheering, and he goes back. He does sort of like a Brock Lesnar thing, doesn't it? He goes back into the ring and he spears Elias.
Which
huge,
one of the
pop.
best spears I've ever seen Roman Reigns do. I'm not a fan of the spear. It's a rugby tackle. Rugby tackles do nothing.
I like Goldberg and.
Don't say Edges.
No, I hate Edges. He hugs them as he goes down. Yeah. Christian's was even worse than that. But no, a Goldberg spear just looked like you're about to come out of your feet. But yeah, so he basically spears Elias for the end. He does his raise his hand thing. And the crowd, to be fair, give him a huge chant. They give him a huge cheer. And that was, I think, the end of the show.
That is it. The dark segment. Are we going to talk about that?
Was that on SmackDown or Raw?
SmackDown.
What was the... I don't think I saw the dark segment.
There was supposed to be a dark match between Randy and Thingy.
Who's Thingy?
Roman. And all that happened was Randy came out, tried to RKO Roman. Roman hit another spear on him. That's how SmackDown ended.
Oh, okay. That was the dark segment now, guys.
And then they did 205.
I didn't watch 205.
Neither did I.
No, I haven't seen 205 live, guys. To be honest...
I know Cedric won his last match.
No, he didn't. He lost it.
Did he not?
No, he lost it to Only Lorcan. I know that. I saw the results, but I've not even watched the highlight package. I just looked on WWE.com.
What match am I thinking of then?
I can't remember. But yeah, Cedric lost his last match on 205 Live. Like I say, all the good stars that are leaving from 205 Live, and other than Tony Nese, I'm struggling to find the willpower to watch 205. With our days as it is and work and things like that, we have to really fit in 205 and things like that, and Raw and SmackDown, so it's quite difficult to add yet another hour onto it for 2 matches. I don't see the point. But yeah, but that was the end of SmackDown. SmackDown for me was the better show, I think. Yeah, SmackDown versus Raw. SmackDown won again this week.
I'd give SmackDown a 4 out of 5.
I would say 4 stars for me. I thought it was pretty good, but still, yes, this SmackDown was good. I said this in my news segment. WWE, especially with AEW coming in, they need to pull their finger out because they're just moseying along. It's this blasé attitude of just giving the bare minimum, it feels like lately. And this is why I think Triple H needs to start getting some more. He's done so well with NXT. They're almost 5-star shows majority of the time. He's done so well with NXT. I think he needs to start coming up and doing more. Look at when he took over 205. It actually made me want to watch it again because it became interesting for a few months. But yeah, I think Triple H really needs to try and get a bit more in there because Vince, for me, he just doesn't have it. He needs to take that absolute buffoon Kevin Dunn with him as well. But yeah, I digress. So that was the end of SmackDown, guys. Like I say, 4 stars. Our match of the week, well, we're both in agreement, was Ali versus Balor.
Yep.
4 stars. I've already said 4 stars.
4 stars, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Sean is going to do the NXT reviews a bit later on your own because I have somewhere to be.
Yes.
You're going to try and do NXT. That can be your thing now, isn't it? NXT.
NXT will be mine going forward.
One thing we didn't say on the Raw review, and we didn't say here, Ben unfortunately had to work today, so it's just me and Sean, and our recording space got taken at the last minute. There is work being done round where we're recording, so it makes things too difficult to record. You wouldn't be able to see it.
We're aiming to find a permanent recording space.
Like I say, we've only been around just over a week, guys. So we're hoping that in the next 2 or so weeks we're going to have a good recording space, and that way this element of these basic...
By the end of May we'll have a permanent resident somewhere.
And by then, when we do have a permanent spot, this element of these basic videos, because I know sometimes it's a bit hard to watch because you know how basic these are, they will start to go. We'll start to be putting up some better videos as well. So as we always say, please bear with us. But that's all we have to talk about today. Yeah. So until next time, I've been Paul.
I've been Sean.
You've been watching Alpha Wrestling Reviews. Take care, stay safe, like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.